Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is your Canadian captain speaking. Welcome to another feature on the delightful list, and another of my favorite aircraft for Microsoft Flight Simulator, the A2A Piper Comanche. Now, this may come as a bit of a surprise coming from someone as a long-term aviation and flight sim enthusiast, but this is my first ever A2A aircraft. Does it live up to the hype? Let's find out. First, a bit of background, and I will paraphrase here just a bit. The Piper Comanche was first introduced in 1958 as a modern, high-performance, single-engine aircraft designed to compete with models like the Beechcraft Bonanza. It featured a low-wing, all-metal design with retractable landing gear, and initially came with engines ranging from 180 to 250 horsepower. The Comanche became known for its speed, range, and efficiency, making it popular with private pilots, flying clubs, and small businesses. Several variants of the Comanche were developed over time, including the high-powered Comanche 400 and the twin-engine models. Further improvements enhanced the aircraft's versatility and appeal, catering to pilots seeking greater performance and capability. The aircraft's durability, handling, and advanced for the era features made it stand out in the general aviation market. Production ended abruptly in 1972 when Piper's Lock Haven factory was severely damaged by flooding caused by Hurricane Agnes. Despite the end of its production, the Comanche remains a beloved aircraft in aviation circles. Many of the planes are still flown and maintained by private owners and enthusiasts today, owing to their sturdy construction, exceptional performance, and enduring legacy. The Comanche continues to be a symbol of high-quality design in general aviation, with dedicated owners keeping it airborne decades after production ceased. Now, that's more or less what Googling the Piper Comanche is going to tell you, but let's talk about this specific model of Comanche, in particular the A2A one modeled in Microsoft Flight Simulator. It is a deep and rich experience, full of features such as new external aerodynamics engine with AccuSim 2.0 Merlin tech, performance accuracy based on A2A's Comanche 250 testing, realistic aircraft handling, trim, and flight behavior, physics-based per-cylinder simulation of the Lycoming 0540A engine, dynamic ground physics simulated weight, tire loading, and surfaces, advanced turbulence and subtle wing flex simulation, sophisticated airframe vibrations during ground roll and engine operation, realistic fuel system including fuel lines, contamination simulation, dynamic oil system with changing viscosity and contaminants, engine starter simulation of compression cycle physics, physics-driven sound with over 1,000 dynamic sound effects, beautiful external and internal modeling with dynamic wear, detailed JPI EDM 830 engine monitor with realistic displays, custom-coded narco avionics stack with multiple NavCom units, GPS integration with MSFS default and third-party units supported, Century NSD-360A HSI with custom needle smoothing physics, advanced simulation of STEC System 30 autopilot, advanced night lighting with dimmable cockpit and indicator lights, pilot's tablet for managing and interacting with the airplane, interactive walkaround with movable, inspectable parts, customizable persistent aircraft with failure and wear simulation, graphical engine analyzer for detailed piston engine insight, real-time load manager with dynamic weight and balance display, electrical system analyzer with circuit breaker functionality, animated rear passengers and front seat MSFS avatar support, fluid in-sim performance comparable to default aircraft. And what does all that mean? Well, with independent engine cylinder simulation, just starting the engine can be a challenge unto itself. Factors such as air temperature, oil viscosity, and fuel contamination can lead to distinct difficulties starting the engine. But treat it all properly, and the big 540 fires up just as it should. Don't forget to lean your mixture a touch for taxi, or you could find yourself with the plugs fouled, requiring proper cleaning before takeoff. The Comanche sounds are very realistically rich and deep. You can easily and happily lean by sound and feel, as the engine will both sound and run rough if you go too far. Ground roll is properly immersive without being overpowering. The appropriate clicks and clunks of the various systems in the cockpit are also very realistic without being overpowering. But one of my favorite sounds has to be cycling the prop during the run-up. Just listen to this. Ground handling feels heavy, as appropriate for this aircraft, and the added little bumps and squeaks add to the experience. Several GPS and avionics options mean you can fly as high or low tech as you desire. You can even put in the custom KLN 90B GPS for that true early GPS IFR experience. Now, I should mention that, as with most things on the Delightful list, I am not sponsored. I am not paid by A2A, nor anyone else that I mention in this video or down below. I'm merely a fan. Flying the Comanche is a pure delight. As A2A is known for, the Comanche has a large amount of effort put into custom coding for the flight model, and this effort shows. In flight, the plane handles wonderfully, reacting beautifully to turbulence and air currents. Controls feel appropriately heavy yet responsive, none of which being what I would call twitchy. And for what it's worth, and per my own recommendation, I'm running the sim turbulence settings on realistic. and honestly, I would be on super ultra mega realistic if I could crank it up more. Stalls can be straightforward and predictable, or something a little more exciting. They're preceded by a shake and a shimmy, followed by a mild wing drop, increasing in severity if you aggravate it. I do have a bit of a personal connection with the Comanche line. Having a history working in avionics, I had the distinct displeasure of working in several of this model, including one particular aircraft in which a 20-minute task took us over 3 days to finish. All the while bent over the wing spar and dealing with the 1950s to 1960s era wiring and plumbing, and Piper's distinct aversion to files to round the corners of the metal. At the end of that task, we were all less than enthusiastic about ever seeing a Comanche again, to say the very least. So, as a distinct hater of the real-life Comanche, I still say this is one of the, if not the very best GA aircraft we have in the sim. It's just that good. Landing the Comanche comes as no distinct challenge, so long as you don't get it too slow. It's built as a clean airframe, so plan ahead with those descents, keep the speed in an appropriate range, and let it settle into ground effect before touching down. A breath of power just before and into the flare can help soften those touchdowns just a bit. Throughout its history, the Comanche has been part of many world records, not the least of which being a 7,668-mile non-stop flight from Casablanca to LA. As well as being the aircraft of choice for the world's oldest global circumnavigator. On a slightly darker note, the Comanche was the aircraft involved in a tragic crash on March the 5th, 1963, killing 4 people, including famous country music star Patsy Cline. The VFR-rated pilot chose to take off into weather that he was ill-suited to handle. Overall, the A2A Comanche is an absolute gem. It's got all the little details and quirks that make flying feel as realistic as possible, from tricky engine starts to superb handling. Even if the real-life Comanche may have given me a bit of a headache in the past, this virtual version is nothing but wonderful. With its solid flight model, diverse avionics options, and a flight experience that makes you want to hand fly as much as possible, it's hard to beat. Whether you're into the history or just want a great plane to fly, this one is delightful. I'd like to thank you all so very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Follow my channel for more, as more will be coming soon. Also, consider supporting me on Patreon. The link to Patreon is down below. Until next time, this is CCM, signing off.